There is something so comforting about a fresh homemade paratha, the flaky crust, the buttery layers, it's just so divine. And it pairs so perfectly with chai or coffee or with any of your favorite gravies or curries or even kebabs. I love mine with shami kebab. And the dough is only two ingredients and it's multi-purpose in a way that you can make rotis and parathas both using the same dough. I have all the replacements and adjustments mentioned in the video, and I also have a little trick up my sleeve which is going to make rolling parathas a lot easier and faster and going to save you a ton of time and effort in the morning and for sahoor time or anytime really. So let's get started with the recipe, but before that, please do consider subscribing to my channel and giving this video a big thumbs up. So the ingredients that are required are flour, ghee and water. If you are going to make rotis, you won't even need the ghee or butter or oil. So I'm using my stand mixer, and this is a dough hook that I use to knead all sorts of doughs. I have about 550 grams of flour here. You can use completely all-purpose flour, or you can mix all-purpose flour with whole wheat flour, or you can use only whole wheat flour depending on what you want to make. For rotis, I use only whole wheat flour, and for parathas, sometimes I mix whole wheat with all-purpose flour. So I have about 550 grams here, and you will need around 1.5 to 1 3/4 cups of lukewarm water. It should be slightly warm to the touch when you touch the water with your finger. You never knead dough with cold water ever. And if you're using a stand mixer, you want to knead it for no more than 3.5 minutes. So from the time I start my mixer to the time the dough is completely done, it takes me around 3.5 minutes. If you knead it longer, your paratha or your roti is gonna get chewy. Also, if you're making the dough for parathas exclusively, add a couple tablespoons of melted butter or melted ghee into your dough as well. It's gonna give it a really nice taste. After the dough is ready, I like to make a nice giant smooth ball, and then I let it sit for about 20 to 30 minutes. This makes it a lot easier to roll because once you flatten the dough with the rolling pin, it doesn't come back and it doesn't shrink, which makes the process a lot easier and faster. And you want to roll it as thin as possible. Use flour on the base if you feel like it's sticking, and then you're going to add in your melted butter or ghee or oil, followed by some salt or your favorite toppings and some flour, and then we're going to roll it. The thinner you roll your paratha, the more flakes, the more layers you're going to have in your end paratha. And then I like to cut it in about 8 to 10 equal sized pieces and then flatten them up. And if you are going to make them right away, I do recommend letting it rest for again 10-15 minutes because it will make it super easy to flatten them out, roll them out later. And this is a little trick I wanted to share. If you want to do a little pre-planning or want to make it ahead of time, you can take a container, an airtight container, oil it a little bit, and then add your peras, your dough balls in it. And then you can do it the night before, and this makes it super quick for the busy mornings or for sahoor. And I have been doing it for years now, and it saves me so much time. And also the cold dough, it's super fast and quick to roll, and you don't need a lot of flour even, I've realized. So once you're ready to fry or cook your parathas, take a little bit of flour if it's sticking and then roll it out, not too thin because you don't want all of your layers disappear. So once it's about more than a hand size, like a stretched hand size, it's pretty much done. And then we're gonna cook it on medium high flame. I use a pan, there's no oil right now. If you're making rotis, you do not need any kind of fat. And then let it sit on the pan till it starts to fluff up. This is very important. You don't want to move it around too much because we want it to cook through. Once you see that it's bubbling and it's rising up like that, then you can flip it. And this is a little tea towel that I'm folding, and I'm going to use it to press on my paratha, or if you're making roti, you also want to do this. What it does, it presses it on and it cooks it through. So the fluffing of the paratha and all that smoke that comes out, it means that the paratha is cooking from the inside. It's no longer wet, and it's done. And you want to do this before you add any frying agents like ghee or butter or oil. So then I'm adding my ghee. It is my homemade ghee. I'm gonna link the recipe here for you guys if you're interested. And then you want to fry it till it's nice and golden brown. One little thing to keep in mind, if your paratha is browning too fast, then your flame is super high. You might want to reduce it a little bit, because then it won't be very flaky. It's just gonna burn the sides. It won't cook through evenly and it won't be very crispy. And this is a little trick my mother showed me. Is you take a tong and then you beat your paratha a little bit from the sides after it's done. What this does is it opens up all the layers in the flakes, which we can see very easily right now. And let me show you one. Look how beautiful does that look. And that's all. Your paratha is ready to be enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed this video and this recipe, and I would love to see your paratha recreations if you want to share it on my Instagram page. Until next time, the homemaker baker over and out.